The auto index at a 3-year low. It's going through a rough patch. Sales have been slowing down for the last few months for the auto companies, and the question marks remain about what could happen in the times to come. I think it's important to get a perspective from one of the auto vendors as to what the outlook in the near term and the medium term looks like. Mr. Vikram Kirloskar joins in right now to talk about that, because Toyota seems to have bucked the trend a little bit. Mr. Kirloskar, good having you. Thanks so much for joining in and giving us your time. What's your sense, firstly, from an industry captain's perspective? Are these trying times likely to linger for a while, or is it difficult to say, or would you believe that these will get done in some time? Because I remember conversations with auto companies in the month of December. Then the outlook was that once the NBFC problems settle down, auto sales, CV sales will all come back to normalcy. That isn't quite happening.
Yeah, auto sales have been tough this year. It started off very well at the beginning of the year. Growth was fantastic. It started tapering off in the second half. I don't know what the reasons are, but we've been trying to analyze, in our company at least. We've had some growth last year. 7% is what we have said for the whole financial year in terms of volume. It could have been better. The last few months were not as good. Like I said, we started the year earlier. But I was trying to analyze what all is happening in the market. Is this only from finance? Is it only from retail finance issues, or what is it? It doesn't seem to be because of any retail finance issues. There seems to be enough finance available for the kind of vehicles that Toyota Kirloskar at least sells. We are generally in the higher end vehicles. The Fortuner I know as a higher priced vehicle. But one interesting statistic my marketing and sales guys were saying is that the time required for a service, that is time from service 1 to service 2, it depends on number of kilometers which has been driven, has actually increased. So at least in our market, our customers seem to be driving less. Now this could be due to some very good things. It could be due to the metros taking off. I've seen the metro ridership in Bangalore has been increasing substantially. It could be due to shared mobility. If it's because of these two things, I think it's good for the country. It's good for the environment. But it's going to be I think a tough struggle this year as well. If we get 6-7% growth this year, I think I'll be very lucky.
Wow, Mr. Kirloskar. So if it is due, and I'm guessing we still haven't reached a conclusion as to what the reasons could be, but if both those reasons that you spoke about are due to play, and I mean, what's happening in Bombay with the public transport system. I mean, a lot of metro projects are on as well. That would point to arguably a lower sales regime lasting for the next few years. It may start maybe after 6 months, after 1 year, we don't know that. But it could last for a reasonably long period of time if indeed those are the reasons.
No, I'm not sure. If you look at around the world, just shared mobility or metros or better public transport hasn't really reduced sale of cars that much. It has reduced emissions, definitely. Okay, it has reduced perhaps overcrowding of roads. But we are still, if you look at the number of cars per population, we are amongst the world's lowest. So there's a lot of headroom potential. There's a lot of headroom potential in smaller towns, in the developing urban areas. If I look at least around Bangalore, I see the road infrastructure. Yes, we are tight. We talk of traffic jams in Bangalore, but Bangalore is adding 10, 12, 15 million square feet of prime office space a year. And people are moving around. The metro is improving. This is a good thing. I believe the way the highway projects are going on, you do require mobility to get the economy going. It's mobility delivers a growing economy, and a growing economy requires mobility. I think it's a chicken and egg situation, but I think both the chicken and egg will hatch at the same time in the years to come.
Right. Mr. Kirloskar, good morning to you. I just want to take it forward from where my colleague left it. While we're talking about the sales not picking up and this being slightly more trying times for the entire auto space, the Auto Dealers Association has also commented on with regards to the overall inventory pile-up that we're seeing. 50 to 60 days now for passenger vehicles. Is that a growing concern? Because, you know, once this stock doesn't start moving in a meaningful way from dealers, new fresh orders, wholesale orders will actually not translate into much.
You know, our company doesn't believe in having stock with dealers. So our stock with dealers are very low. We reduce production the moment we start seeing any slowdown. So we have very limited stock in the dealers, in the pipeline, or even in our yards in the factory. So we tend to produce as per requirement. So I don't have a stock problem in my company.
Did you recently reduce production?
So we've always worked this way. We always work like this. So we don't do it. We just literally every day we monitor the way the demand is coming in, and we keep adjusting our output.
No. So did you recently reduce production, sir? And is, you know, keeping in mind the market?
It will happen on a daily basis.
Okay.
It doesn't happen on a monthly or a quarterly basis.
Okay, but just to give us a color on the fact that, you know, the industry itself, not from your perspective, while you do it on a daily basis, from an industry standpoint, I mean, there are delays. We've been talking about NBFCs and the loans that have been pushed out in the auto segment, which have actually caused a little bit of a delay in taking those purchase decisions from customers, to the fact that there has been high inventory, to the fact that even though manufacturers and dealers are pushing out those big discounts, still the sales are not picking up. So, I mean, while you can't put a finger to it.
December was one of great months in terms of volume and the worst month in terms of discounts. I think people got really good deals. And I think perhaps also in March there were a lot of discounts. You know, this whole discounting thing, you know, building up stock and discounting is not a good practice, very frankly. And I think as the industry matures and things get more competitive, people will find in the long run it's better to produce as per demand and keep lower level of stocks across the country.
Is there a threat to this discounting and this competition which is there in the industry turning into something which is, pretty detrimental to most manufacturers in terms of their costing and pricing, because the raw material costs are not going anywhere?
I think the manufacturing companies are very mature. They understand exactly what they're doing. You know, it's the cost of keeping an older product with you and giving it to a customer. I think everyone looks at the benefit and cost benefit of it and takes the right decision. I don't think the industry is so immature to harm itself by discounts.
Mr. Kirloskar, what's happened to the demand from fleet operators? That was one big driver for mid-size cars. You have a product like Etios as well, which caters to that market.
Yes.
What's happening there?
Yeah, fleet has been one of our strong points in the last 1 year. We've had good demand from fleets. I think as the shared mobility pans out across the country, I still think that is a growing market. It's a good market.
Okay. A couple of industry-wide questions. Firstly, this FAME 2 discount, if I'm not wrong, which was where the policy has been changed, that from earlier being given to individual car owners, I believe now is being given to fleet owners. Does that change how the industry approaches this whole move towards electric vehicles?
See, our Toyota Kirloskar's approach towards electric vehicle was primarily focusing on hybrids. Okay, a strong hybrid like the Camry we produce can run. The car runs by itself without the engine running as well, or with the engine running. It does an optimization, and we believe from a well-to-wheel point of view, that is from the source of energy to the end use of energy, it is one of the most efficient forms of transportation. Also, it's one of the most efficient forms of transportation in terms of carbon emission. So our policy is to continue strongly on developing and bringing out new hybrid models in the future. We have shown some electric vehicles, but it depends a lot on the infrastructure, charging infrastructure, how it develops. And based on that, we will add the electric vehicles to our portfolio. FAME 2, as compared to FAME 1, and regarding Toyota Kirloskar, we used to get a benefit of an incentive on the Camry. That is not there anymore. So we are getting basically no incentives. on any of our vehicles. Our present hybrids are beyond the price limit in FAME 2.
Mr. Kirloskar, just to carry forward, just want your opinion on whether or not the industry right now seems to be wanting more of new launches, more product offerings, and a different mix of sorts. And where exactly is the most amount of traction in which segment, even in passenger vehicles? Because that probably tells you a consumer's mindset, whether or not the entry-level cars are getting more traction, mid-sized cars, as you said, and what is the mindset driving the kind of demand growth for those various segments?
Typically in the past, what I had seen, and I don't know if it holds good now, but many years ago I did some study, and I found that the more expensive cars would sell better when the stock market goes up, and the lower priced cars would sell better when the interest rates came down. I think it still somewhat holds good. I think a healthy economy will keep this market going. But let me say some positive things about the auto industry. We've talked about maybe this year's demand. This is 1 in 5 years or 4 years that it has been a tough year. And this is a cyclic industry like any other industry. Some years will be fantastic. We're used to those fantastic years. So we see a slightly dampening of demand. People start worrying. I don't think anyone should worry. We have one of the most competitive industries in the world. The car industries in the world. There are more products in the B sector in India, giving the consumer a fantastic choice and a fantastic price and quality. We are one of the most competitive producers in the world, one of the largest exporters of B segment cars in the world, more than 800,000. It's more than China or anywhere else. Our auto component industry has become top class, largest amount of Deming Prize winners. So I think we have a very positive and a very, let me say, a glorious future going forward.
Interesting. Well, one certainly hopes for that to happen. If I can just wrap up this interaction.
It's going to be very competitive. Listen,
sorry, yeah.
Glorious future means the customer is going to get a damn good deal. Okay? He's going to get a better vehicle at a good price. He's going to get a safer vehicle, lower emission vehicle at a great price.
Well, as a customer, I can tell you I'm not complaining. As a customer, I can tell you I'm not complaining. Just one last thing. I heard you mention at the start of the interaction, Mr. Kirloskar, that you mentioned that you will be lucky if you clock in a 7% growth this year. Would you reckon that the industry growth rate would be lower than that?
I know, let the elections get over. I think the country has a lot of positives going for it. The tax collections are going up. The infrastructure construction is going up. The economy is going to do well. There's nothing pessimistic in the future for me.
Okay, so you believe that the economic growth post-elections will pick up?
The period is going to eat up 2-3 months of the financial year. So if I look at a 12-month period, maybe it's a tough year. It's going to, the economy will grow. There's no reason why anything should go wrong.
Okay, but industry growth rate could be slightly lower than your growth rate, I reckon.
Well, over a 12-month period.
Over a 12.
I'm sure it's going to pick up after the elections.
Okay. Well, we leave it on that note.
As a new government comes in and people get confidence and when there's a stable government in place, it'll certainly pick up.
Fair call. Would have loved to chat more, but out of time completely, Mr. Kirloskar. Thanks so much for taking the time out, though, and joining us. Lovely chatting with you.
Thank you. Bye.